25, the Packers, Cooper DeJean, who can do everything for that secondary that kind of needs that chess piece player.
The Packers are another team that when you start to look at their roster and you break them down, you start to go, they're a really well put together football team.
They are, yeah.
Right? Like another team that I thought about O-line. I looked at it, but I don't think they're desperate on O-line. It's one of the better O-lines in football. Let's just state that clearly.
One needs to fall. Like if Graham Barton just fell into their lap,
then
that's
maybe,
their type.
Sure.
Maybe.
Right. I mean, I could see that. Okay. And I saw some people that had him like, taking a tackle or doing stuff like that. I mean, again, with the way mine fell out, there's no tackle to me that makes sense there, right? And you look at it, corner, secondary player. I thought about Terrion Arnold, right? Would that make sense here? They got Kasim Nixon, right? They got Stokes still there, who's a first-round pick from Georgia. They, of course, got Jair Alexander, right? I know they got Xavier McKinney. I got that. But you look at their team, they don't need a ton. And Cooper DeJean can kind of be, like you said, that I can be safety, I can be strong safety, I can be in the nickel in a certain situation.
I can cover Sam Laporta.
Exactly. He's going to be able to cover tight ends.
Right.
So Hawkinson, Laporta, he'll be able to man up. Right.
6 games a year are those 3.
So I certainly can see that. And smart football player, really damn good athlete. Just don't want him outside playing corner. You kind of want him in those positions we talked about there. Cooper DeJean, Packers.
26, the Bucks get pass rush help. I think this is an area they really need. And Jared Verse falls to 26, which would be great for them.
I mean, it would. Do you? I certainly seem to be in the negatives or more low on him than others. It kind of fell this way naturally for me. I think that Jared Verse would be another guy that, a little bit all over the place, where some people might like him in the mid-teens or whatever, but I think there is a group of people that think he's right around this range too, and it kind of just happened that way. But, I mean, they need somebody. Shaq Barrett, gone, right?
Previous picks haven't worked.
Exactly right.
They've tried
Tryon
this a lot.
Shayenko's just
the
solid
kid.
player. The Houston kid, Logan, right?
Yes.
Hasn't really worked that way either. And he's kind of like a hybrid DN tackle. They need a true pass rusher, and that's where I think Jared Verse fits in real well.
27, the Cardinals back on the clock. They took Marvin Harrison Jr. at 4. Here you have them go corner with Terrion Arnold.
Yeah, I mean, this is one I went back and forth with. Right, I mean Terrion Arnold. Here's what I don't think Terrion Arnold should be drafted here. Okay, I'm just going to be plain and simple. But I know I'm in the minority there. I know, and I know from too many people that it sounds like he's going in the first round.
Yeah.
Right. So you look at them and you go, corner is a position they truly do need to address. Right? There's not a lot there as far as Arizona and looking at it. And I do look at him and go, he's a safe, smart guy with a guy like Jonathan Gannon who does a lot of different stuff on defense. They certainly need a nickel type of football player. And again, I think just smart, good football player that fits what I would think is the Monty Ossenfort kind of formula for guys coming from New England and what he does.
Like steady.
Exactly. Steady, safe, going to be able to handle all our multiple defenses and all of that. So that's where I went with Terrion Arnold.
That's why I think Cam or Kool-Aid is in play at this pick. I think both Alabama guys are in play.
I hear you. And, I almost put Kool-Aid with a team here down at the end, but I ended up not going against it. But I certainly could see them being a part of that conversation there.
28, if this happens for the Bills, they won the first round.
No doubt.
Brian Thomas Jr. falls to 28.
If you would have asked me this 2-3 weeks ago, there's no fucking way this happens. Right? I've told you that I definitely know people that Brian Thomas is way up there as far as what they think of him as a receiver. Right? That was one of the things that when I left my receiving rankings, I got a lot of feedback on that one. He has off the field. He has an injury concern.
Okay.
Right? I don't think it's like a huge one, but I know I've learned that from multiple teams that there is an off-the-field injury thing
like
there.
Not top 15.
Not top, like
lock.
People aren't going to be feeling comfortable there. So this is where I think he can kind of fall to, right? But yeah, I was made aware of that. I'm going to say I came in here one day and told my people, I've had people reach out to me, say there's an off the field thing. And I told them, and they were like, oh, you always like the guys with the off the field problems. That's what they like Matt Casey and Pete made fun of me for.
He's 6'3" and runs 4'3".
Yeah,
so
right. I was like, I don't know. I just like that, right? But then I came to find out as I text people back, like, what's the deal? It seems like there's an injury thing there, a little bit of a concern there, and I think that's why of course, that's why I got him falling down.
The Bills with wide receiver at 28 feels like a lock. I would call closest thing to a lock.
I would think so, right?
Don't know if they'll get this lucky. Maybe.
Yeah. I know.
Maybe.
I know. And, I mean, if it's not him, I mean, would they go pass rusher or do they go to the Adonai Mitchell,
That's
Xavier
what
Worthy,
I think. Yes.
something like
Yes.
that? Right.
Exactly.
It's all in play there.
29, the Lions. You have this a fit that I've really liked as well. I did a what I would do mock draft and had this pick. Chop Robinson, pass rusher from Penn State, because with Aiden Hutchinson across the way, now you just have an explosive guy that things are kind of watered down of what you're asking him to do.
I mean, another team that you look at and go pretty well built is just about the only spot that I look at to go, okay, they could use an upgrade here, right? He's a totally different animal than Aiden Hutchinson, like you said. And, yeah, you can play him on the weak side and go, hey, you don't have to worry about the run game as much and fly upfield and get after it, right? Cause some disruption, and I think
fast.
it's an area of their football team that needs an improvement. Other positions I thought about with them, like right, I mean, D tackle, they're stacked at D tackle. I don't think there's a corner there that makes sense for them. Plus, they did a lot in the free agency with corner, where I don't think they're desperate to address this need in the first round. The Lions are a team that I certainly sat here and thought they could trade out of the first round. Certainly.
I could see it.
I wouldn't
Looking
be
at their
shocked.
roster now.
Right. The Lions fans will be pissed off to sit there and wait for that pick and then not have them do it. But, yeah, there's not a lot of desperate needs on this Lions football team.
Okay, 30, the Ravens. This is where you had Adonai Mitchell come off the board. The Ravens need a wide receiver for sure, and he's got size and speed.
He's size and speed. They don't really have that guy like him. Rashad Bateman, it's injured a lot, and this is the last year, right? This is year 4 for him.
That was fast, yeah.
Right. So I think it's a little bit more of a look of the future and, a little bit something as far as dependability to go here. Another team, though, I look at and when, they could trade out here. They could. Offensive line, certainly they need some bodies there. I think there's probably guys here in Baltimore that they like that we're not sure how much they like them.
Like Andrew Voorhees, who they stashed last year.
They always have those.
Falele is going to play right tackle.
Exactly.
They are the epitome of next man
exactly
up. Yeah.
So that's where I kind of go, I don't know if they're that desperate to get the O-lineman there, and I don't know if anybody really meets that need right there for what they really need. Mitchell's got big time potential. He's not my favorite guy. We
saw it on that. Too much coasting,
right? But there is big time potential. The body, the speed, the measurables, the numbers, all of that are definitely first round worthy.
You know what's really interesting about this?
Yeah.
Mitchell was at Georgia when Todd Monken was the offensive coordinator.
Shit.
So if Mitchell's on the board and they don't take him,
that's a big sign. Right.
That's when you made this pick, I'm like, man, we're going to know. We're going to learn either way.
We definitely are going to know.
And then Mitchell transferred to Texas.
Right.
So we'll see. It's going to be really interesting.
It'll be very interesting.
30. Speaking of interesting, 31, 49ers, probably one of the bigger surprise picks in round 1. Roger Rosengarten, the other tackle from Washington. Really athletic dude.
Yeah. I know that's Shanahan likes him. I thought about, again, the 49ers, and I know everybody thinks I always have inside info on the 49ers. I am more clueless on the 49ers than any other team in the fucking draft, okay? Right? This is what happens when you're really close to people.
You don't talk about
You
those
don't
things.
talk about it at all. And I don't want to talk about it, and I don't want to know about it. And my friend, I think, is avoiding me anyways because he doesn't want to say something and then have me kind of figure it out, by knowing my friend. So I thought about Jordan Morgan from Arizona.
It's a fit.
I certainly thought about that. I just went with the guy. I thought Jordan Morgan, he can play left tackle. I think he's more of a guard. I went with the guy that I thought is just more of the true tackle in Rosengarten. That's why I did it. But I thought about Kool-Aid here because they do need some secondary help. I think Charvarius Ward, this is the last year of his contract, I believe. And there's somebody else, if I can remember off the top of my head, which I can't, who's also on the last year of their deal in the secondary, where I thought about Kool-Aid, but I just thought, man, offensive line needs to be addressed, and I'm going to go with Roger Rosengarten.
Whenever I run into this situation, if the corner from Clemson, Nate Wiggins, is there, that's where I have every time.
There.
But he's probably just too good that he shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Let me ask you.
No. I don't think you're crazy with your Nate Wiggins thing, right? I've had people definitely ask me, do you think Nate Wiggins goes in the end of round 1, right? So there's definitely that thought out there of, will he be that, right? And I think between the size, like you talked about, and then, hey, there's this. To me, this is where he was different than Quinyon Mitchell. Competed in your face every play, and he doesn't want anybody anything. Nate Wiggins got a little bit of like, hey, he's awesome, and he's got a lot of great plays, right? But I think the other thing too, when you watch Nate Wiggins, this is why you got to watch games. He got a little bit, I think, of, hey, let's just attack the other corner. Right? We're not going to attack you. We're just going to go to the other side. And he got some free passes there. And I think if you look at some of the balls that weren't thrown his way, like, that was one of the things that jumped out to me where I was like, oh, this guy's open here. They just don't want to go there because it's Nate Wiggins and they're going, this is easier. But here's an out route that's open against Nate Wiggins. Here's a comeback that's open against Nate Wiggins. Again, there's still a lot of good. I'm just telling you why I think some teams are a little bit like, he's not a definite, top 22 pick or something like that.
Any chance it's wide receiver.
I thought about it, right? Because of the Ayuk situation.
It's just getting worse by the day. And the fact that, like, at least me, I think this is Debo's last year with the Niners.
I wouldn't be shocked by that either, right?
I know.
So I did. I thought about it. I thought about, so Mitchell was gone.
That's
and
what
I
makes
went,
this tough.
Man, would Shanahan want Xavier Worthy?
Right. And I actually think no.
I don't think so either.
Play strength doesn't really.
That's
I look
at
like
tough.
I look at like Jalen Polk as their type, but maybe they think, hey, we can get Jalen Polk later, so we wouldn't do that.
I don't disagree with you that it'd be their type. I mean, really good route runner can do that.
One of the best run blockers in the draft.
That's what they value, right?
Yeah, like
so
jack of all trades.
Yes, all those thoughts went through my head, right? And then I was like, I even thought about the fucking receiver from South Carolina.
Oh, Xavier Legette.
Because I was like, damn, I mean, he's got some Debo-ish about him.
They use him like
except
that.
He's got better long speed than Debo, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, I went with the O-lineman just because I feel like it's still the biggest need on their football team.
To close this thing out, the Chiefs at 32. I think this is one of the best values of the draft. I really like this player. You have them taking Jerzon Johnny Newton, D-tackle from Illinois.
I think it's another team where, of course, it's pretty well built, right? I don't O-line. I know that's maybe something you could look at there. I don't think that makes sense. And then D-tackle. If I had a thing about their team towards the end of last year, is just you wish if Chris Jones isn't in there, you worry about them, right? And hey, we're getting up there in age with all these guys. I mean, Tershawn Wharton's no young spring chicken, but
Mike
we know
Pennell's
Chris Jones and Mike Pennell's been forever. Exactly right. So they got to get younger and some better depth there. And yeah, Jerzon can, he can stop the run, and he's got true pass rush ability on the interior side. So it's a great spot for him. I'd like to see that happen for the Chiefs.
Yo, homies, what's up? I know it's the offseason, but it's never the offseason on Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Me and Ahmed Fareed are going to be here for it all. We got free agency. We're going to break it all down. The draft, the rankings of positions. Of course, we're going to unpack it all. Hit subscribe, get to my free agency reactions, 2024 draft rankings, and more. Thanks again for watching. Peace out, homies. See you soon.